Yo, Jay. Hell, I didn't think anybody'd see this because I left my phone at home and I don't have a phone. But I was kind of getting FOMO when I was sitting here. I was like, man, this is boring. It's boring. I don't have anybody to talk to while I dot I's. Looking for my lighter. Notification squad. Oh, we are working on dotting some I's on some crankbaits. But I need my I've got this long handled like grill lighter that I was using because I couldn't find my other lighter. And I don't know where it's gone. I think I finally would go fishing on Friday and turning on Sunday. That sounds nice. Hella, here's how it works down here. Um, I thought about I thought about going fishing also, but the problem is that down here in Alabama, the last like month, uh, we've had really strong winds, and we've had on the weekends. It seems like every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday there is tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you wanted to go fishing today, you could, but you might get sucked up by a tornado. So I figured not really worth the risk. Probably stay at home. But as soon as the week rolls around, like after this front with the tornadoes blows through, it's supposed to blow. North wind's supposed to blow really hard. So I'm not really enthusiastic about that. But I might try and sneak out next week and actually go a day since it's April and everything is biting. Um, Dude, I've got to find this slider. It's gonna drive me nuts because I don't want to do all these baits and have bubbles in the eyes. It's gonna really piss me off. There it is. Found it. These are uh, hello. You're exactly right. Uh, 20s and early 30s me would be out there right now throwing a buzz bait because everybody knows that they bite a buzz bait when the tornado sirens are going off. That's when the magic happens. Came down to Ouachita and we had tornado warnings. Yeah, I think whatever you're getting, Morgan, is what's on its way to us. So I'm pretty enthusiastic about that. Considering that as a child we never had tornadoes a day in my life, but now all of a sudden we get like tornado warnings every week. Uh, it's a wee bit frustrating. It is a wee bit frustrating. Get out of here. These baits, these are for Eric. I wonder if I can turn this light off and be able to see it. You can see it's like a SH4. Can't really see the colors, but uh, this is Eric's personal stock. That Marty built him. It's a lot of baits. It is a lot of baits. Probably, yeah, this is a 1.5. I thought I was going to get exclusivity to it, but I guess not. He's got and there's the Jordan color. Looks like shit on the camera, but you get the point. Eric had to have it. Had to have it. I did get the mother. I did get the mother. Morgan, wait till you see what Marty just built me. Ooh, hail, not fun. Not fun. The first time I ever fished a tournament at Logan Martin, like here, we don't have tornado sirens. I'd never been around them in my life. And I was on Logan Martin on the way like upper end, like in the river. And me and my buddy were up there. And we heard, and I was like, dude, it sounded like, we're about to get hit with a nuke. I was like, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's the tornado sirens. It's like, the what? And he's like, the tornado sirens? I was like, should we be like listening to the weather now? And he's like, no, we should be throwing a damn buzzbait. I was like, dude, you're nuts. We were in college. And he's like, nah, they're smashing. And the wind got weird and like still and like it was odd. Like you could just tell, you're like, dude, I'm about to get hit with a damn twister. And we head down the lake and it was like calm where we were. And then we start heading down the lake and it was a different place down there. Like there was like 4-footers out in the river. And we were in my buddy's boat and he was driving and I was in the bottom of the boat and there was waves breaking down the front of the boat. It was awful. But we made it back. We made it back. Dumb stuff you do when you're a kid. Or not really a kid, but college student. So hell, are you going to Pool 4 on the Mississippi River? Is that the one that the elites fish? I'm not familiar with my pools up there. If you're still there. Here's another question, Hella. If you are still there. When the elites came there, did you speak to any of them? Maybe give them a little assistance. Oh, whoops. Got that a little too hot. Burned it a little. So they usually fish 7, 8, and 9. Can you lock? Do you have locks? Like if 4 suck or if 7 suck, could I lock down to 6? Or is it not worth it? Or is that, or do they launch in 1 and then they usually lock to 8 and 9 or whatever? When it was legal the first time they came, Randy Howell reached out to me. How about that? And how did Randolph do? Did he heed your advice? Locking is common. Did he use what you told him for the greater good of his tourney, or did he blow you off? Up and down one pull. That makes sense. What's the furthest you've ever heard of someone locking? Like, how many pulls down have you ever heard of people locking? It always interests me that, like, pre-tournament mode, what info people get, where they get it from, how they use it, if they use it. Like, all that's really interesting to me. Because I still want to know who tipped Van Dam off to the back end of Beeswax Creek in the Classic. Because I really can't believe that he just stumbled in there in February in 3 foot of water, and the water like 40 something degrees. Pools aren't that long. 30 minutes to log to the next pool's only. Oh, damn, that's not bad at all. Simon, happy Easter. Thank you for stopping by. You can't see that one. No, you can kind of see it right there. I think this one's called Hot Mustard, if you wanted to call it something. See, like the river I fish, Miller's Ferry, which is a dammed up section of the Alabama River. It's 114 miles long from dam to dam. So, like, if you launch on the north end, you could lock up if you wanted to. Or if you fished on the middle part, you could lock down. But if you launch in the middle part, going and locking to the upper end is not happening. Most of the tournaments take place in the middle kind of section of the river, but it's not even the middle. I'd call it the lower end because there's so much more up above us. John, you are right. I've talked about Morgan. Yeah, we're going tomorrow to go for an Easter egg hunt. I got her a rod and reel too, so we'll see if she likes her rod and reel. Hopefully, she does. John, yeah, that, like, the thing about the back end of Beeswax is, like, it was a local, and I wouldn't even say local. Like, I don't even think at that point, like, it wasn't community hole yet. Like, it was, but it wasn't. Like, because I have a bunch of buddies, and I was in Tuscaloosa. I knew a bunch of guys that were, you know, really good up there, and you know, they would slide in there, but it wasn't common knowledge to just go to the back end of Beeswax. The funny thing about it was, like, it was good. Like, it was hardly ever not good. Like, guys are catching them out on the river in like July, going to the back end of Beeswax and throw a ribbit. And like it was freaky back there. But that's what makes the Coosa River so weird and like so tough for like a guy like me that was from out of town. Like I didn't know places like that existed on lakes. Like I would try and like break down the lake in a typical like, you know, Bassmaster magazine approach. And I realized that um, the real world does not work like that. So if you're out there on the bass trail, the world is not always as it seems. And I would like specifically early in the year was a real big deal for me because like everything you read about pre-spawn fish was you go and they get on these transition banks and you catch them cranking and you catch them doing this and like mid-depth water and all this kind of shit. And not the case. I mean, you can, but if you slide up in 2 feet of water, there's plenty of them to catch. Jeremy, what's up, dude? And they're mad, and they're more fun to catch. But I never found any articles that told me that. So, uh, but the other thing that I thought was interesting was I think I told this on Travis's stream. Was that when I went to Kentucky Lake, I fished my whole practice period with a map that I got from the like hotel lobby because I had before I left I had the Southern card and I thought the Southern card was going to be enough. Like I thought the Southern Navionics card would have Kentucky Lake on it. Well, apparently, according to Navionics, Kentucky Lake is not the South; it's the East. So I get there and I'm like, this is a big tournament for me. It's like the biggest tournament I've ever fished. I'm fishing for like 50 grand. Uh, it's the Triton Elite tournament. I'm like 20 years old. It's a big deal. So I want to do good. I got my card. It's into May. I'm like, dude, I'm going to go out there and wear them out on the ledges. Well, I get out there and my map, the lake map is blank. So I'm like, all right, how am I going to fish a ledge lake? Or how am I going to catch ledge fish with no map? So I go to the little lady up at the front desk. I'm like, do you have a map of this place? And she was like, yeah, here's one. And she handed it to me. It was free and it was actually pretty good. And then I went to the store and got another map. So I had a bunch of maps, but the best one was actually the free one. And I got it and I went out there and found my fish with that little paper map. And it was really interesting because I ordered the card. I ordered the card on Tackle Warehouse and had it overnighted to the hotel. And it showed up like the last day of practice. And when I turned the map on, or I put the card in and looked at the map, it was like really incredible because seeing my waypoints on the map, like on the Navionics, like it made it all make sense. Um, and I knew what I was looking for, but it wasn't the same as seeing your spot, like where I marked fish, like directly on what it was. And it's like, damn, this is awesome. So I ended up doing okay. Uh, I was never on any like big schools of fish. I was on big schools of fish, but they didn't have like, I wasn't on big fish. Uh, all the schools I fish I found, um, the biggest you would usually catch out of there was about a 4 pounder. All my schools were basically 3 pounders. Um, but I did catch a 7 in practice, on a spot that I thought was a dink hole. Um, but but anyway, so when I put the map in, I went over there to that spot where Van Dam was cranking over by the bridge at Big Sandy, and that whole section where he was cranking was blank. Like there wasn't a blank spot on that whole damn map. And Big Sandy is in Paris is like a very known spot. Like it's probably the, besides the like Blood River up there, it's probably like the most known area of Kentucky Lake. So there would be no reason for it to have a void. Um, but where Van Dam was catching them was in that void. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't think this is by chance that this doesn't exist. I think this is blank until Van Dam says, y'all can have this. Like, you can release this now. Um, yeah, I don't know, Jeremy. What's I follow old Darius on here on Instagram, and he's like, he catches smallmouth all the time, like it's like normal. And he like targets them. Like when I was up there, it was really hard to like you didn't just catch smallmouth. Um, they were there, but they weren't like everywhere. And I tried to go catch them one day just for shits and grins. Um, I tried to go get on some like bluff walls and like throw a football head in a tube and shit. And I never got a bite. My dad caught one on a old monster, believe it or not. It was it was like a 10-inch smallmouth. Couldn't believe he ate that damn worm. He also caught a sauger. And there was a lot of guys out there catching those, fishing for those sauger. Dude, at the time, Kentucky Lake was my favorite place in the world. When it was good, I don't know how anywhere could compete with that place. It was the craziest good public, like I didn't know public water could fish that good. Um, like Kentucky Lake fished like a private lake. It was insane. A lake that everybody had access to. The amount of fish in there was mind-boggling. It's not only the amount of fish in there, the amount of fish that would bite in there. Like they were like hungry. It was wild. Wild times, wild times. I miss it. I wish it was still pumping them out. I guess it probably is to an extent. We give Tennessee this. That's good that they're trying to restock it. That place was special, man. That place was special. What was awesome about it was when everybody, all the locals, were like thinking all the fish were out there on the ledges, which a lot of them were. Us being dumb Alabama kids, the first thing we do is go to the 2 foot of water and start catching 3 pounders out of the bushes and 3.5 pounders and like really good fish. And all the locals staying around us were like, you can't even catch a 3 pounder out of the fish right now. I'm like, yeah, you can catch about 100 of them. They're like, nah, they already out. I'm like, no, they're not. But that place just had an insane amount of fish in it. Loved it. Maybe it'll get back to its old ways. I can go back up there and relive the glory days. Can't see that. What if I could turn this off? Oh, it's dark. Wonder if it helps the visual. You can see baits better that way. Just a regular old 09. Nothing special. And we got, I guess you would call this color SH4. I'll turn the light back on. Gotta work on my lighting. Figure out the best way to show crankbaits. Got home yesterday and had a nail in my tire. That was nice. What's the best lake in the country right now? Anybody know? Hackney said it was Santee Cooper. I guess for size, it's obviously O.H. Ivy, but I don't know. I don't know in a days of fishing like how much how many like 3 pounders you catch if you wanted to. Like if you could go to Ivy right now, or back when like guys were catching the big ones, if you could go out there and catch like 75 fish. Which to me, that's kind of what marks a great lake. Is when it's pumping out big ones and it's pumping out numbers. That's the total package. I figured the headwaters would have slowed. Hell, I thought I just tried to define what I thought was the best. A lake where you could go catch high numbers and big ones with without being a damn like guru, like just being an average fisherman. Go out there, have a fun day. Good Lord, dude. Like that's how Kentucky Lake was to me. Was you could go out there and you could catch, you know, 40 fish pretty decently, and you might. I mean, the odds of you catching like a 6 or 7 pounder were pretty good. Um, Jay, is that how it was back in the day when it first opened? Hell, that's not a bad. That's not a bad prediction. Wilson and Wheeler are really fishing good too. You might could throw Eufaula in that mix. Eufaula was insane last couple of years. I don't know what it's doing this year, but Dale Hollow. I don't know much about Dale. I mean, I know of it, but I didn't know that it was a bass factory. It was always, to me, a deep, clear place where you'd go to catch a big smallmouth, and it was tough. I guess it's grown. It's grown out of that phase. Hella, you ever been to any of the Ozark lakes? I'd like to visit one myself. You'd have 150 to 200 fish on a hollow body frog. Wow. Yeah, Eufaula might have. It might have got all the pressure it needed and then said, "No, nah, we're going back to normal." I think Falcon's still pumping out some fish. I don't know. You have to ask Hella. His dad lives down there. He can give you the report. I don't think it is what it once was, but I still think you could go down there and have a good time. Hella, you need to have a fan meetup at your dad's place, and we'll all fly down there and hang out and go rip on go rip on fish. Choke Canyon's fishing pretty good, but I don't know if it's like best in the country. But you could go out there and catch a ton and then catch big ones. And it's probably not getting the pressure that other ones are. And it's not as far a drive. It's down there towards San Antonio. Bass fishing is good, not great. Hella, if you would give it out of 5 highlighted bass, like on the old fishing calendar that would come in the magazines, would you give Falcon 3 bass out of 5, or would you give it 4? Damn, dude, I'm still going. Hell, has your dad ever run into Denny? Brower? Can you do 3.5 people on your invite list? Yes, as long as I'm on it. You could give it 3.5 basses. You could rank it 3.5 basses out of 5. I'd like to hear a report from Ivy that's like a human report. You know what I mean? That's like just a dude that's like, he's not trying to break the damn world record. Like, he just wants to go down there and catch some fish and like have a good time and catch like an 8-pounder. Like, what are those guys catching? What does a simple humanoid catch down there? You know, like what would you catch if you went down there and like threw a Bandit 200 and like a Carolina rig and maybe like a something that'll get a bunch of bites, like a Ned rig? I would think you'd probably have a really good day. I don't know. Here we go. John D., where you live on the Alabama River? Do we know each other? I didn't know I had Alabama River people here. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have said half the shit I did. Oh, I gotcha. That's a good stretch up there. Cooter's Pond area. I think that's Otagoville. I think the low and fluctuations of water holds falcon back from peaking again. I actually prefer, John, like my home water is Miller's Ferry, which is below Cooter's Pond. I actually prefer Cooter's Pond though, because Cooter's Pond is more like the Coosa River than it is the Alabama River. It's like a hybrid, but it's very similar to, like, if you went to Lay Lake, it looks a lot alike, and it has the same, like, the spots kind of do the same thing on the upper end. Is it really taking me 42 minutes to dot all these I's? I don't even feel like I've been like dicking around talking that much. Guess it has. Guess it has. Spraying and fishing pressure. I guess fishing pressure is like a real thing now. Like, before, growing up, like, everybody wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like, guys were just fishing down the bank, and like those fish would get pressured. But like now, I feel like every fish gets pressured because of electronics. Like, bank fish were the only ones that really got pressure back in the day. But now if there's a fish floating around in 8 feet of water, like, 30 feet off the bank, like, somebody's gonna see him and throw at him. I'm about to have to go home and cut a. I'm about to go home and cut a window out because it's painted shut. All right. If y'all don't mind, I need to go get a napkin to clean this towel off. So talk Florida Lakes amongst yourselves in the chat, if you will. I'm back. All right. I do like this camera better. It's much clearer. Eagle ain't bad. Fish is good at night in the summer. Dude, I've been night fishing, but like, I really don't do that. Probably should. Oh shit. I'll do these. No, it's the same one. Hella. I don't know what it is. Like a Logitech something. It says Logi on it, so I'm assuming it's a Logitech. Manson and Eric told me to get it. That it would be the best bang for my buck. That allowed me to not have to do hours of internet research trying to figure out what was what. We used to fish night tournaments on Lake Tuscaloosa back in the day. First tournament I ever fished was a night tournament at Lake Tuscaloosa, and the first tournament I ever won was the first tournament I ever fished. Got pretty lucky. Humbling experience. The first tournament you fish is definitely not the first one you want to win because you're like, oh, damn, this shit's easy. Wrong. Wrong answer. You go out there and win the first one, then you say, oh, these guys suck. These guys suck. I'm just going to beat their ass all the time. Nope. Altoona up there in outside of Atlanta. Never been there. I've never fished anywhere in Georgia. Yeah, no. Hell, I should have stopped when I had one win, 1 for 1. But I guess you got to get that first one to keep you chasing them. I can imagine though that those guys fishing for a living when they don't like when you get a taste of it and then you don't win for a while. That would suck. Jay, I think he used to. I don't know that Mike's done a damn guide trip in years. I might be wrong, but I wouldn't think he'd have time to do that damn shit. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he used to though. That's when he was posting all the time on. That's when he was posting all the time on Bass Fishing homepage. Hello, were you on Bass Fishing homepage? Back when Alex Davis was Spinnerbait Kid? South Jersey Fisherman, what's up? We're just dotting I's, hanging out, not fishing, waiting on the bad weather. Where's AJ at? AJ actually might be fishing today. Hold on, let me read this. Breaking news. Got Gary Dobbins to commit for a return live stream appearance next week. That should be fun. Are you active on any of those forums anymore, Hella? I used to love Bass Fishing Homepage. Not Bass. Well, I love Bass Fishing Homepage, but I loved Bass Fishing Homepage, and I loved Bass Boat Central. Man, Bass Boat Central was awesome. Like I know Facebook dicked those up, but to me, it's not the same because like you really can't search Facebook for a topic like you can on like those forums. Like I still like I still feel like there's value in those forums because the information how you can obtain it. Like if you have a specific question, you can look it up. Like I feel like on Facebook you just get a bunch of bullshit. Um, Hell, I snuck in Bass Boat Central like a couple weeks ago just to see what was going on over there. I went to the Alabama fishing reports. There hadn't been an Alabama fishing report since like 2017 or something, or like 2018 or 2019 or something. Like it'd been in like years since anybody had posted a fishing reporter there. It kind of broke my heart a little bit. Tackle Tour was a good one. Like I was always too much of a lurker to be part of like a community online, and I guess I'm just a dick and didn't like to like give information freely. So I was always a little bit envious though, like because all those guys seemed like they were just like buddies. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, I don't have any friends. I'm just this damn loser that stays over here in the corner by himself. And then the drama starts, and you're like, now I know why I stand in the corner. Because you guys are a bunch of bitches. You guys are a bunch of bitches, and I prefer to stay in my reclusive, dark corner. Two different state sections on BBC One. Yeah, the one I was on was it was a damn ghost town. Well, that's good. YouTube's not paying me anyway, so I can speak freely. That's interesting. I have to pull up Steve's profile and see all of his posts. Creep on his posts. I've seen him post on Swimbait Universe on Facebook a bunch. Not a bunch, but he posts on it. Oh boy. Yeah, I wish Elon would get into the fishing game. That would be. Actually, I hope he doesn't, because he'd probably flip the damn thing upside down. All right, I hope he stays out of the tackle category unless it's with me. But I would like to hear his perspective on if he knows anything about fishing. Like, explain tournament bass fishing to him and be like, "How do you make this awesome?" South Jersey fisherman. Unfortunately, these cranks aren't going up on the website because these are for Eric to hoard in his private collection of tackle. Can't see it. Oh, you can kind of see it. I did like a root beer, but I did white crawl marks on it because it was a little dark, and I was thinking I need to lighten that thing up. So I got out the white crawl bars, which I'm a big fan of. Ah, you already caught fish on it. That's pretty sweet. I got to get all of Eric's shit out of here. I'm sick of looking at it. Here we go. If the physics are practical to battery power a bass boat at 70 miles an hour for a 100-mile-an-hour round trip, good question. That would be, yeah. Could you make it? Could you make up the weight difference? How would you deal with the weight? Which he would. I mean, that would be like asking him, can he tie his shoe? Uh, Did you watch his little live stream from the whatever it's called in Texas, right outside Austin? His little mini festival. Touch, dick. Oh. Yeah, I would love to see like Elon attack a bass boat. Could you imagine what that son of a bitch would look like? It would probably be so ugly. I bought a Bagley on eBay years and years and years ago, and it was my favorite Bagley for years. Still is. It hangs on the wall. Um, or it used to hang on the wall. I hope it's still on the wall. Oh yeah, there it is. But I'd like to figure out, the guy who painted it didn't sign it, and I don't recognize the paint on it. But I would like to ask that gentleman what black he sprays, because his black is clean. Very clean. I will say mine's pretty damn clean though. Maybe his looks so clean because at the time when I got that bait painted, my paint looked so shitty. Now that I look at my black, it's just as good as his black. Okay. 09. I need to keep these out because I need to dot these blacks, black and blues. Autopilot boat. Yeah, Elon needs to stay out of fishing because I want fishing to go look I want fishing to go back in time 20 years to the way it was then, not go forward. Is there a name for that? Where you're like anti moving forward? Anti growth? I'm sure Hella will have an answer. Regression. Is there such thing as a regressionist? I feel like that's what I am. Just take me back to the simpler times of the Bob Cobb era of Bassmaster. That's all I want. Shitty electronics, little boats, limited tackle, no internet, maybe a little AOL dial-up, 56K, topo maps, doc talk, mom and pop tackle shops. Shit, dude, it was good. It's a good time. Three people painted fishing lures. I'm trying to think who would have been the bait painters of the 90s. Dale Sellers, uh, Tim Hughes. Who else? Anybody know anybody? Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go. Hell, I'm gonna quit doing YouTube lives, quit doing Instagram lives. I'm gonna start sending out paper newsletters. with a update. What's going on in the shop this week at Tacklecraft? I have a few pictures, a little write up. Might even do it on a fucking typewriter. Who knows? John, have I ever tried building something similar to a Hinkle? No, I'm not. I'm not a huge fan of the Hinkle profile. I don't like tall baits. Uh, but a glide, yes, yes, I have. Just not a big, tall gizzard glide. Dude, I think those like I wish those Japanese guys would do stuff like that. Like the guys that are like really like hardcore, or like the Jonas guy over there in Australia that does the rats. He could get away with doing like a newsletter and a catalog to get his bait because this shit is so good. Like people would do that, and I wouldn't say beyond it being so good, it's so unique. Like if it was just a crankbait, it probably wouldn't be that wild, but all his stuff's so wild. Um, yeah, that's a good way to get fried in the swim bait world is if you make something. Damn, dude. Vendor case of old Excaliburs. Where'd you get those? Well, I mean, the thing about, I'll address this because it gets talked about a lot. And there's like a line drawn in the sand on swim bait guys and what is copying somebody and what is not. So, I mean, a Hinkle is a pretty, I mean, it's a damn gizzard shad, pretty much. Uh, so he can't have that. What he can have is fins, the way he does his fins, uh, and the tails, and like eye placement, and like scales, and all that kind of shit. And like, of course, people are going to build a gizzard shad profile bait because they want to, they want to make a bait that they don't have to wait 2 years for, and that they can build at home, and it's shaped like a gizzard shad. So, um, but when I start seeing the fins, like the anal fin and the little fin up top, and like all that shit done just like he's done it, like to me, that's like starting to like you're not differentiating yourself at that point. You're treading in Hinkle water there. Um, and there's a million different ways that you could do it different and make it look like your own. But I think that's where guys like they miss the boat, is that like they take one very distinguishable part of the bait and then they rip that off rather than just like finding a way around it. Um, they're like, oh, I'll just make my eye bigger and make it look a little different and not put the same scales on it, but I'll use all his fins for, my bait. Hey, look at a phony. Yeah. But a phony looks like a phony. You know what I mean? I've seen, but it's still, I mean, it's still got its Hinkle characteristics. Does the phony come with that bottom fin? That's the only one. That's like the telltale for me is when they take that the bottom fin. And they're such a waste to me. Like it's such a waste of time dealing with those stupid ass fins. Like a bait doesn't need it. It's got two friggin' treble hooks hanging off the bottom of the bait. Let me just look past these giant hooks and split rings and admire what a beautiful natural anal fin you have here, fish. Oh no. Just dropped my paint. Ooh, man. Oh, we got a big black stain on the floor. Drop the paint. Oh well. Wonder if I should get water and try and get that up. Hold on. Excuse me. I probably just made that a million times worse, but we'll see. We shall see. Jay, that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. South Jersey. I don't get it, dude. Like I don't get it. Like you're gonna get blasted. And there's like an infinite possibilities of like baits you could build or like colors or anything. I don't know, but he's getting flamed. Um, I've heard he's always been kind of, tough to deal with, but I think it's just compounded and gotten worse and worse and worse. I don't know. It's probably growth. Like he was probably doing all right when he was producing X amount of baits a month, and then he probably tried to ramp things up, and you know things got higher and producing more baits, doing more. I think those people bring it on themselves, though. I actually just kind of sit back and watch them burn. It just shows you the people who don't need to be in business. The guys that just need to build baits in their garage and just that's where it ends. Like don't deal with the public. But rather than do that, they just try to build something and then go put it up in flames. What's funny about all the guys like with the shitty like customer service is like I felt bad if I like ship somebody's bait like a few days after I tell them, like if I tell you I'm going to ship your bait on Friday and I don't send it out on Saturday and I end up sending it on Monday, like I feel bad about that. Like the fact that these guys hold people's money for like a year without talking to them, and like there's like horror story after horror story after horror story about like dealing with the builders, like how much business they still get. Like it's like it doesn't affect them. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like no matter what, no matter how shitty Andrew's business practices are, he's still going to be getting like 20 emails a day saying, "Hey, dude, let me get a Hinkle shad." And he's going to say it's a year wait, but you can pay me $200 right now, and I'll get you one in 2023 maybe. And people are like, you know what? Yeah, sure, why not? Like I still don't understand that. Like, why not support the people that are doing it right? You know what I mean? And they're out there, but those aren't the ones that usually. You know what they say? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. They're not like those guys aren't the squeaky wheels. You hear more about the bullshit guys than you ever will the guys that are doing it right. And it's unfortunate, but like that's just the way it is. Jay, I'll let me rephrase that for you. Good painters can use water-based paint, but water-based paint isn't good paint to use on fishing lures. You can be a good painter technically and use water-based paint, sure, but is it the correct? Is it the best tool for the job? No. So and she does, yes, she uses water-based paint. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not. It's you know, it's not the most durable stuff out there. Um, yeah, everybody's had a good golden story lately. Um, oh, Jody's here. Crane, what are you doing? You damn gaylord. We're gonna be peeling bark with these. I need to get Jody on here. You'll see this salty bass guy in the comments. He traded his bass tackle in for white Bayou Reeboks. And by Bayou Reeboks, those are those white boots you see guys in the Bayou wear, the waterproof boots. He traded his bass tackle in on speckled trout gear when he moved down here to Mobile. He's a disgrace. He didn't even know how to catch a bass anymore. He traded his old redneck fishing bass fishing partner in on the country club and speckled trout and center consoles. We're gonna have to get Jody in here to do a interview one day. I'm ready for a showdown as long as we can go 2 hours north of the salt. I don't care. I don't care about the salinity as long as it's not 100% salt. Doesn't bother me. He wants to get up on that reaver. I will say I like catching redfish. I like catching redfish fishing like I'd fish for bass. That's fun. It's pretty badass, Jay. I'd like to see how far our bass get down into the bay. I've never heard anybody do that study, how far south they get. I think that's what happens here, Jay. Because our bass down here on the lower end don't get very big. I think it's what you said. I think the salinity stunts their growth. But here's an interesting factoid that my buddy was telling me about. There was this big drought back in, I don't know, early 2000s maybe. And so typically during a drought, the salinity gets pushed out towards the Gulf and the fresh water comes down because all the water's getting pulled out. And my buddy said, he's like, "Do you remember the drought?" And I was like, "Not really." And he's like, "An interesting thing happened." I'm like, "What's that?" And he said, "Speckled trout and redfish and flounder got the farthest north that I've ever seen them get." And he's like, "On the other hand of that, bass got farther south out into the bay than I've ever seen them get." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yes. Like if you could get out into the bay, like as far as you went south into the bay, which leads to the Gulf of Mexico, like it's a straight shot to the Gulf." He said, as long as you could find grass out there, like there would be bass in it, and they were loaded." It's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yes." And he's like, "But the trout and redfish were all like way north." So that didn't make any sense. But I always thought that was interesting. That I guess maybe there was. Who knows? It's weird. Who knows? Oh. Kyle, how dialed into you? How dialed in are you to the like Black Bayou area? Bayou, oh, are you calling Bayou Black? Are you talking about Bayou Black, or is Black Bayou something separate on the Atchafalaya? Because I had a story I would like to run past you, see if you have ever heard of any of it. If you heard there's any truth to it. Did I get all the eyes done? Damn, I'm hungry. Speaking of Bass Boat Central, this is a Bass Boat Central story. You might be able to find this guy. Uh, his name on Bass Boat Central was Bayou Buff. I guess it's somewhere in like Bayou Black in Louisiana Delta. But he was the guy supposedly that helped Davey Height win the '99 Classic. he put height on those Bayou Blackfish. And apparently for his nice gesture of helping Davey Height on these Bayou Blackfish in the Classic, Davey gave him his boat. That was like the repayment for like him doing good. So for his troubles, he said, "Here's my boat." That was his payment. But I would like to know if there's any what's going on in that bayou that Davey Height won the Classic in, or Catawachi. Is it still got any fish in it? I know they opened it up or closed it up. They did something goofy with the dams right there. Oh, what? I don't know. I don't know. All right, I'm about to have to go home. I got all my I's dotted, got all my baits painted. Work is done, but it's not done. I just have to continue it at home and do more work on my home. Kyle doesn't know. All right, gentlemen. Thanks for sticking around for the Sunday chit chat. John D, thanks for swinging in. South Jersey, y'all take it easy. Happy Easter. Go find y'all an Easter egg tomorrow, full of cash. Jay, take it easy. Y'all be good. Hella, take it easy, bro. Have a good tournament tomorrow. We'll see y'all.